The Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. We're talking business and building a culture that's kick-ass. Where we make it happen, grab your seat, let's have a blast. At the Entrepreneurial Journey podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. Today I have Anna White with me. Hello, Anna. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Very good.
Good stuff. Now, Anna is the founder and owner of the Scotland Shop. I think the clue's in the title, but tell us what you do and who you serve and what you sell.
And what we sell. Yeah, so we are a tartan company. Tartan is what we're all about. And our main goal is to share a little piece of Scotland with customers across the world. And so you can choose your tartan. We have hundreds, probably thousands available. So you choose your tartan, whether that involves a clan consultation or a journey to find out what that tartan might be. We help you with that process as well. Choose your tartan and then we'll make up your chosen garment or piece of home furnishing or even just a piece of fabric that you want to make something with. So we have a huge range of products, which makes it a very interesting and challenging company to run. But yeah, so we offer you a little piece of Scotland in your own tartan wherever you are in the world. So we have customers spread all over the world.
I love that. How did you get started?
So really a lot of why I started was to make myself a really nice job. So we're based down in the Scottish Borders, which is a fairly rural community with not a lot of businesses. And I married a farmer, so you don't get to choose where you live. There's lots of other benefits, but one of the things is you live where you live on the farm. So there wasn't there's not a lot of pure marketing and jobs down here. So I created my own. I wanted something that was challenging and different. And I have a true love for the area, what we produce in this area, because this is a hugely textiles orientated area. We've hundreds of years of history of textiles in this area and a great university, Heriot Watt University down here producing lots of graduates in textiles. And just some amazing products that I felt we could do a lot with.
Yeah, you're right. The Borders, it has a fabulous history of textiles, doesn't it? What was it about the Borders that meant that the textile industry really sort of collected there in Scotland? Was it the water? Was it the climate? What was it?
Yes, you're absolutely bang on with the water. That's something that the cashmere and the woven products produced here, the finishing of them is very special because the softness of the water gives them that really beautiful handle that you can't replicate anywhere else. So that's why we're very special.
Ah, I see. Okay, what's your favourite tartan?
Well, I'm wearing my Doddy tartan, which of course it is definitely one of my favourites because I love colour, which is why I love tartan too. So this is the Doddy tartan which we designed in aid of for the Doddy Foundation for their research into MND. So obviously a very current one as well. So this is one of my favourites. I'm married into McGregor clan. I don't know if I can really say that's my favourite. It's very green and very red. So probably not one of my favourites. But another big favourite of mine is Bruce of Kinnaird, which is very bright and bold with a bit of kind of orange and pink and olive green. So, but to be honest, every day I change my mind because every day I'm in dispatch and I'll go, oh, what's that one? And you're seeing them go under your eyes all the time, and every tartan has some kind of little special difference. So.
It does.
Hard to choose.
It is. I really like tartan as well. And you go into a shop and you're mesmerized by the combinations of the colors and the patterns. And yeah, it is beautiful, beautiful fabric. So do you export the finished garments or just the fabric?
No, the finished garment. So yeah, everything we do is I mean, you can have, if you want to buy a meter of fabric to upholster a chair, then yes, of course we can do that for you. But no, generally what we're doing is we're making up finished garments. So anything from, an accessory like a tie or a scarf, to three-piece suit, a kilt outfit, a dress, shoes, a
Nice.
huge range of products.
Beautiful. And who are your biggest customers? Which is your biggest export market?
So the US, yeah, absolutely. And from day one, we've been an exporter. That not specifically by strategy at the beginning, but immediately it just became really obvious that the US was a great market for us, and so we've obviously focused on that. As the business has grown, and that's certainly our biggest growth market. And we earlier this year opened the shop out in New York State. So, that's all part of that kind of growth journey.
I hadn't realized you opened a shop in New York State. That's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
How's that going?
That was the lockdown project. That
Uh-huh.
was the little kind of thing we worked towards as we fought our way through lockdown and all of the kind of restrictions. So yeah, we spent a lot of that time researching. We'd already done some on the ground research and knew that's what we wanted to do, but then obviously we couldn't really progress with on the ground research. So moved to behind our desks and yeah, did loads of research and then decided what area we would go into and exact location and a lot of that we viewed properties by WhatsApp. That's kind of what we were down to because we had no choice. So we couldn't travel at that time. So we opened the shop in March this year. So that was a big step, very exciting. And
That
yeah,
is
just great to have our flag planted out there and to be able to now build around that. Now we've got that up and running and we've negotiated all the fun bits of paperwork and registrations and rules and things that we've had to learn to be in that
that's
market.
so cool. Whereabouts in New York State is it?
So we're in Albany, which is the capital of New York State. So yeah, about 2.5 hours north of the city. So yeah, it's a lovely city. It's very political more than it's a bit different. Yeah, the buildings there are fabulous, all the government buildings. But lots and lots of story around, lots of links to Scotland. Even Albany comes from Alba, so that whole there's just even our road is called Loudon Road, which is linked to the Campbell of Loudon, and
Yeah.
just everywhere we turn, we find some other little piece of history. So we had a lot of fun writing all the blogs and stories about all of that when we very first decided to choose that location.
Yeah, there's so many Scottish connections, aren't there? I was at the Johnny Walker Experience last night and wandering around the ground floor. Every customer in there was American,
Mm, yeah,
and the connection they feel to Scotland is incredible. Actually,
yeah.
it's really nice. Several generations down the line as well, the connection's so strong, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a real passion there, and that's why they're really lovely customers to deal with because they it's very emotional the purchase and we hear so much story from everybody and we love sharing those stories and that's why people work for us because it's really fun, it's really nice speaking to all these different people and hearing the reasons behind why they want something and yeah it makes it really special and that's why our shop is literally 20 meters from the Johnny Walker experience, and it's we didn't go on the Royal Mile because we didn't want to be in the kind of melee of tartan and tourists. We wanted to be a destination and an experience, and that's what we've tried to create in Edinburgh. So
Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
lovely. It's really nice. And am I right in thinking then you're manufacturing in the borders? Is that right?
Yeah, so we have a various kind of network because of the broad range of our products.
Yeah,
And then we use a variety of different manufacturers and suppliers, and yeah, so that's why it's so much fun operationally to manage because there's lots of bits in lots of different places. So your cloth is maybe being manufactured in one place and then the product elsewhere. So there's lots of system and management involved in that, which is fun. But no, as far as possible, if I can use my very closest people, then I do. And we have lots of little ladies in their houses stitching away. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
they're
cool.
amazing. And that, to be honest, again, go back to COVID and lockdown. That's what got us through, because they were still sewing because they're just individuals in their houses, and that's where it's really lovely to support. And that's what this was all about. This whole business was about jobs in the community, and there's not a lot of jobs around here, and just to create employment in the local area so people aren't having to travel into
Yeah.
Edinburgh or far away for work. And so, yeah, I mean, there's people that we've met in the playground who have become seamstresses for us, or worked in the office or whatever. So, yeah, we've got a whole network of people.
That's what I love about small to medium sized enterprises, is that you normally they employ direct from the community. They give people in the community jobs that they wouldn't normally have access to in flexible ways that bigger companies can't always accommodate. And I think that's one of the reasons SMEs are the backbone of the global economy, because they work directly in the communities that they're placed in, and you can serve the whole of the world, which is fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's the beauty of it. We can be here in our little rural location, but
Yeah,
it doesn't limit. We're not limited by footfall. We can talk to the whole world. So, yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's made it really exciting. And for me, because I don't really like to stand still and always like to have another project on the go, and then there's never been a limit really to what we can do. It's just deciding what's the right thing for us. And I think
Cool.
sometimes that, for people who work, people who come to work for us, sometimes they're a bit like, "Whoa, this is a bit overwhelming," because actually there's so much. So I have to be careful to tone myself down a little bit in my excitement of, "Oh, but we could do this and we could do that." Like, well, no, okay, let's just focus on one thing today.
A true entrepreneur, Anna. Oh, look, another shiny thing. Let's do that.
Yes, exactly. Luckily, I'm surrounded by others who are different to me. So.
Good. So, have you just won an export award? Did I get that correct
Oh,
on?
it's not an award. No, we won. Well, we've done a few different things, but I think maybe what you saw was the DIT, the Department of International Trade. We're now an export champion for them. So there's 13 champions in Scotland, and we are here to share our story, to share our journey, to allow others to have a kind of resource if they want to ask us questions. I worry a little about that, whether I'll know the answers, but um, yes, so that's what we're there for, really, to be kind of examples of what can be achieved, and
Oh,
what can be done. And
that's
because
good.
often they focus on wholesale or trade, so we are probably, I think, the only retailer in there.
Right, right.
So that's quite nice to represent the retail side of things too.
Yeah. Well, what they don't include, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe they haven't included digital products in. I don't know. Have they?
Yes, I think
Have they?
I might be wrong, but I'm sure there was a company there, and I forget their name now. I can send them on to you. Um,
Yeah.
who were a digital? Yeah, they were a digital offering. I'm sure they were they were a kind of criminal. Oh, I can't describe it. It was incredibly interesting. I can't describe it without taking half an hour, but they were certainly there. I met them when I was in Edinburgh. So.
Well, I'll be interested in their details and speak to them actually for the podcast, because there are so many different ways to export these days, and
Mm.
I'm really keen to hear from you, because there'll be people listening to this who like you, are perhaps sitting in a smaller community thinking, I can't possibly export, I'm too small. What sort of top 3 tips would you give somebody who's starting out on that export journey?
I think it's not to be daunted by it and to take the first step, because as soon as you start, then it all starts to open up. I think when you sit at the beginning, and often if you go on a trade mission, or you go on one of these online discussions, and it just feels so massive and so complex. And what, with the US, if you looked at the paperwork and the legal stuff and that we've had to go through, you wouldn't do it. You definitely wouldn't. But that's all in place now, so it's fine. But that is a process you have to go through. But you don't have to do that right away. What we did was we kind of took a baby step and we went out and we spoke to some customers and we joined, like we went to New York Tartan Week, so we met lots of people, we met lots of other Scottish companies who were out there, and some of them who had come from Scotland, lots who were based out there, so they'd already been through the journey, and we met just lots of networks of people who then were like, oh, well, this would work really well for you, or you should speak to them, and you then start to find all these people who can actually help you, and that's and that was part of the DIT thing as well, is helping people to find what bits are going to be helpful and what bits are applicable to you. But I think my big thing is, and I mean this is partly why sometimes I make my life difficult, but it's just to get going with it, just to give it a bit of a shot. And that doesn't mean you've committed to that market and you're going to spend thousands of pounds. We didn't spend, that first trip we did to the States, I don't know, it maybe cost us £5,000, I would think. By the time we went, we stayed, we did what we did, and we did a lot while we were there.
Yeah.
But really, that for us cemented, yes, this is worth doing more in. And if we hadn't gone and done that, we would have constantly been thinking, is this worth it? Is this, is that physical presence that important? But we went there that first time, we were like, yeah, this is so important.
It really is to visit, isn't it? It's so crucial because you just pick up the vibe, the energy of the place. You make connections that stay with you for a long time, actually, whether they're connections that you utilize straight away or later. But yeah, you absolutely have to go there, and you can now just get on a plane and visit. I found the chambers of commerce really useful, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in Albany we're a member of our local Chamber of Commerce there, and they've been fabulous. To be honest, it's a lot of the reason we actually ended up there was because of all the different regions we looked at and different people we spoke to. They were the most helpful and did the most signposting, so it kind of all started to flow for that area, and we got so much information that really it de-risked it so much faster for us. So so I don't know. You said three. I'm not very good, am I? Of being focused. Three pointers. I just give you one. Just take a step. Just give it a bit of a shot, and also don't be frightened then to go. Yeah, this isn't right. Okay, we're not going to do that bit.
I agree. You can go out there and come back and go, actually, that's not the right market for us, or it's not the right time to go into that market. We
Or I
haven't
just
been,
need to turn it a little bit. You're not going to get it right first time. Nobody does. No company ever gets it right first time or all the time. So it's that kind of, okay, well, that would, okay, we could go. I think Nairns were a really interesting example in that when I spoke to them about oatcakes and should we have, we were talking about food in our shop out there. We don't really do food, but then every person that comes into the Albany shop says, oh, I want food. So we were talking to Nairns about this, and they were saying, well, yeah, but we don't call them oatcakes. In the States, we call them biscuits. And we don't sell them being Scottish. We sell them the product. And I was like, oh, but why wouldn't you sell them being Scottish? And they're like, because that's a tiny market. If we go on being Scottish, that's so little. Whereas if we go on being biscuits, and amazing, delicious biscuits with all the health benefits, that's a massive market. So that was kind of, oh, that's really interesting. And we obviously are selling very much on being Scottish and working very much in Scottish communities, but that wasn't right for them. Whereas, their immediate assumption probably would have been to go out there as being Scottish.
We have an American friend, and she basically packs her suitcase home full of Nairns oatcakes because She lives in Minnesota and they can't get them in
Right.
Minnesota for whatever reason. And if they can get them, they're hideously expensive.
Expensive, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, she basically brings a suitcase back to America full of Nairn's oatcakes.
Mm.
So where you're ambitious and you have ideas, where are you taking the business, Anna? What's happening next?
So many different things. But obviously we've got the base in the US now. So the plan is to build out from that, is to build that US market, definitely. And I'm not we have a bit of a plan, but at the same time, it's not set in stone. So we need to get that Albany store really running really slickly, and we need to build our staff there. So a lot
Okay.
of our focus this year is around building that team and making that a really strong and knowledgeable team, because that's incredibly difficult to do from afar. And it's,
Mm.
yes, it's been challenging, but we're getting there, and that'll just take time. So that's the main thing, is to get that running really smooth over there, and then that means our customer service is running later at night. There's just lots of things we can do out of there, and just increasing the business there, and not just in the northeast. We've got pockets of business elsewhere too. So
Yeah.
we've got those. So we've got other pockets that we want to develop. So in the states, we're gonna, yeah, build that base stronger and build out some of the other pockets and see where we want to take them next. And then, we actually have a really good market in France and Germany, so
Mm.
there's more we can do there. Brexit has really, really kiboshed that.
Uh-huh.
I don't think anyone thought about international e-commerce retailers when they did Brexit, but we've done our best to mitigate that. But a lot of it's the customer's perception,
Okay.
of this is going to be a nightmare. We're not going to order because we're going to have tax problems. Or yeah, so we're kind of geared up to cope with it, but the customer doesn't necessarily believe it. So I don't know. There's a lot to be done there, and I would hope at some point they make it simpler so that
Hope
we
so.
can push those markets more. But we're very much focused on, our shop here in Edinburgh could be doing lots more. It's had a terrible time, obviously, and is only back on its feet this year, which has been great to see. But there's lots more we can do with that Edinburgh shop. There's lots more. We're based down here in the Borders, and we have our space we're bursting out of, so we've got plans to hopefully expand, move, well, not move really, or not more than a couple of miles, to make that a better place for staff, to improve our staff training, yeah, really improve that kind of staff environment and become, I really like people, and I love my people, and I want them to love being at work. And I want to give people opportunities, and we have a good link with the local school and the college, and so I really would like to build out that side of things, and do a
Oh,
lot more, just, yeah, as a company. So the plan with the building and things is all around improving things for our existing staff, but also offering a lot more opportunity to more people out there. So
well, that's good.
that's what I would like to do, but lots of bits and pieces to go into place, but we're getting there. And so that's
It,
all. Yeah, January's a whole new month, isn't it? I
it
will.
is, and you can only do one thing at a time. And so, okay, so if somebody's coming to Edinburgh, and by the way, tourism in Edinburgh is going through the roof. Every other voice I hear on the Edinburgh street is, "Oh yeah, when we get back to our hotel, or when we've done this tour, or that it's really taken off again, which is great." So
Yeah.
when they've done the Scotland shop on Princes Street in Edinburgh, which town do they visit to do the Scotland shop in the Borders? Where should they head to?
Well, we're in Duns, so yeah,
Ah,
across on the east side,
okay.
which is so even more unusual, I suppose, in that it's not a place that
Yeah.
people go through. So yeah, so we are quite random. So we don't have a shop here, and that's why we opened the shop in Edinburgh. But if
Right.
we do our new building, then we'll certainly have a bit more space to welcome
Right.
people. But no, this is more this is very much the functional base,
Right.
where yeah, the non-beautiful bit where
Right.
everything happens and is yeah,
It's
warehouse.
the engine room.
It's the engine room, very much so, and then Edinburgh is the beautiful bit, and Albany
Right.
the same. So there are
And would you go
showcases.
east? Is there a market in China and Japan, for example?
And we do a wee bit with Japan already. Yes, I think there definitely is, and I mean, and that's where, in a way, when I talk about opportunity, there's definitely opportunity. Yeah, wherever you turn, there is, and it's just about saying, okay, am I going to focus on that market? So that's, part of me thinks, well, I should borrow however much money and recruit someone to focus on each of those markets and really grow this super fast. But it's not really my way, and I think there's obviously risk involved in that, and I'd rather
Mm,
just steadily grow it. But I
yeah.
think that's a market we'll turn to at some point, and I've
Uh,
heard really good things about some of my other exporting colleagues have done really well there.
yeah.
But it needs a focus, and right now I can't do that. And whether in 12 months' time I might feel different, and I think I probably will, but this year's a kind of consolidation of get the kind of solid base, the building, the people, that all of that just really running really well.
Good. Yeah, good. Sounds like a
Yeah.
plan, definitely. Okay, so if your business had a personality or a character, Anna, how would you describe it?
Well, we always say we're Kaylee rather than black tie when in comparison to our competitors. So, we have some competitors who are very formal and
Yeah,
traditional.
yeah,
So we're authentic, we're genuine, and we're proper Scottish, but we're we're fun as well. So we want people to have fun with us. We want us to have fun want to have fun with the product, with the creation of the product, with the
yeah.
choosing of what they want and the story behind that. So so yes, we're Kaylee rather than black tie. We do like to have a nice time. Um, yeah, we're all so passionate about it. I don't want to employ anyone who doesn't who's not on fire about one bit of the business. So whether they love the tartan or whether they love the process or whether they love the customer, but they've got to love it,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I just to work with me I think you have to, because we're pushing, we're growing, it's not easy. So you've got to have that. You've got to
I
have a
love
bit of
that.
that in
Kay
you.
Kaylee rather than black tie. That's absolutely perfect. I think that's, yeah, ideal. So, okay, I can see the business growing and expanding. It's no longer just a job for you, or I don't know whether it ever was just a job, because that passion really comes through in
Mm.
your voice. And my final question, I don't know whether you're going to be able to answer this, is what is it about the brand Scotland that people across the world really are drawn to? People love the Scottish brand,
Mm.
and it's not just if they're from Scotland or have connections to Scotland. What do you think it is about that people love so much?
I don't know. I think it must be about personality and character. And I think there's a quality in there. There's a quality that sits in behind it, whether that's a landscape or a
Mm.
building or a bit of cloth. There is that kind of quality and then you add the personality to it. And I think that's just like the icing on the cake, and the people, and just think we're quite unique.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm really proud to be Scottish, and I feel like everywhere we go, I feel like I work for Visit Scotland, really. I
yeah.
do. We do so much just general promotion and information about Scotland everywhere we go. So, and I think that's probably undervalued actually by
Yeah.
some of these organisations. I think we're in a lot of different places, and we're constantly talking about Scotland in everything we do. So I think that. But anyway, that doesn't answer your question.
Hey, well,
Yes, I
kind
think I think it's personality. I think it's character. There's something about us.
yeah. Well, I've made it my home for the past 27 years now, and my three kids were all born here. and I ended up marrying a Scot.
Mm,
So there is definitely something that keeps me here. And I'm kind of with you. I think the two things for me are the people and the landscape. The
mm,
landscape is just breathtaking. I don't think there's anywhere more beautiful on the planet than Scotland on a it doesn't have to be warm, but just when the sky's clear blue, there's just
mm,
nowhere more beautiful. And the people make me laugh. I think the sense of humor and the dry, often quite dark humor really
mm.
appeals to me in the storytelling. I think that's probably what does it for me from an outsider's perspective.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've lived here all my life, but every time I go away, I always want to come back. And I went, when I was younger, I didn't want to live in the borders. I didn't want to marry a farmer. I just wanted out, I was 16, 17. I just wanted out. And, I spent a lot of time abroad, but all that time abroad made me realize how much I loved home. So,
Yeah,
yeah, for all
it's
I love
lovely.
traveling, I will always come back.
Yeah, that we have a Ukrainian lady staying with us, and she had to nip over to Poland for something. She came back to Edinburgh Airport, and she said, I felt like I'd come home." And I thought, well, that's wonderful. That is really
Mm.
nice, really, really nice, wonderful. Anna, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know this is a very busy time of year for you. And best of luck in conquering the world with your wonderful Scottish products.
Thank you. Thank
The Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. We're talking business and building a culture that's kick-ass. Where we make it happen. Grab your seat, let's have